Got a huge night tonight of deals, data, and EV discovery. And of course, this is a show about just used EVs and only used EVs. And it's all brought to you by AmazingEV.com.au, our very own dedicated used EV marketplace. Now, though, it's time for our first special guest of the night. Dave's been a friend of mine for a long, long time, way back in the audio-visual days. We lost touch for a while. I rang him 2 or 3 years ago now, maybe 3 years ago now, and said, Dave, I bought an EV. Can I come and show you? And he goes, guess what? I bought one too. So we've reconnected a bit, and we were talking more recently, and I said I was doing the show. He said, guess what happened to me? So roll the tape, and we'll find out what happened to Dave when he went out to buy some new tyres for his Kia EV6.
Mate, I can't believe it has been 3 years since we talked about buying an EV.
I know, unbelievable. Hey, before we get to the tyres, what was your EV moment? When was your EV aha moment when you said that this is going to be it for me?
Well, at the time, I was driving 2 diesels, and I also had a habit of boats, and it was all costing me a lot of money.
Yeah.
I looked at my outgoings and kind of went, hang on a minute. I know that's a lifestyle, but I can also rent a boat when I need it and I don't have to tow it. I was just getting to that point where, the cars had, I think the Skoda Superb that I had, the diesel was at 180,000 kilometers.
Yeah.
The Everest had a lot of life in it, but I knew the resale at that time was very good. And I thought, well, what better time than to dip my toe in the water with EVs, and haven't looked back.
Because you do a few Ks. So Dave's in video production. If anyone wants a video producer, semi-pro, full pro, big house, small house, doesn't matter. He could be your man if he's got some bookings left for this year. Powercreative.com.au. Happy for the free plug. So your fleet, and you've now got 2 EVs, yeah?
Yeah, with a possible third on the horizon this year. We're looking at an electric van coming soon. Just waiting on a few things to land first before we commit to it. But yeah, certainly to answer your question about kilometers, like we're on the road constantly, living in Lake Macquarie, and most of our work being either Sydney or another capital city in the country. We make use of the cars, and you can see the Nero's got a roof pod. We also have racks to put on the EV6 that we also use a roof pod and one of those little trailer pods like you saw in the first shot in the intro. It's not just the internal storage of these cars, but I think that's where we're now starting to look at a van, because we can take even more gear on the road. But yeah, between the 2 cars, 240,000 kilometers, 140 on the EV6 and 105 on the Nero.
But we could dive into charging, we could dive into road trips, we could dive into anything, but let's dive in a different direction, because we went out to buy some tyres, and something strange happened.
Yeah. So third set of tyres that are pictured here. It was a case of me learning some lessons the hard way. I took opinions of what I thought were professionals in the industry that should know better, and really not really their fault personally. I think there was some miscommunication between maybe head office and that particular dealership around what is suitable for my particular car, in this case the EV6. It's a high torque all-wheel drive car. It can't just take any old tire, and I think that has been mentioned along the lines of choose your tire wisely over the years, but my lesson was learnt the hard way firsthand. To give you some background, my first set of tires the car came with was a Continental tire, and a great tire, but my mistake, I didn't rotate it enough, and so the first set of tires lasted me 27,000 kilometers, and I was gone. So
that's key EV6, right? So just in recapping on the car itself,
yeah.
It's
And so what I did with that was I did some heavy research after the Contis, went to Michelin Pilot Sports, which ended up being a really great choice, both I think for performance, but also for durability and life, because I got 65,000 kilometers out of those, which was
The
very impressive.
first ones you didn't rotate. Was there a? I've had there's a camber issue on a Model Y. We'll get to without getting into too much nitty gritty. A lot of wear on the inside again, which can be solved by rotation front to back at the very least. So did you rotate the second set?
Yeah, that was the learning. I didn't rotate enough on the Conti, so it's not a claim against anything to do with Continentals. They're a brilliant tire. But yeah, the Michelin's, I was doing a rotation every 5 to 7,000 kilometers. Compared to waiting 15 like you would on a traditional ice car. And that was the learn. So the trouble with that though was that when I ran out of tread on the Michelin's, unfortunately that stock was no longer available. I think they've come back on the market now, but I had to look elsewhere. And that's kind of where it went down the wrong path when I trusted some advice that I was given.
And we'll put the disclaimer. We'll put the disclaimer in there. We're not tire experts. We're just car owners. We don't have a car tire sponsor unless anyone wants to come on board. So this is just a pure buying experience based on some opinions, based on some views, chat, existing availability, all sorts of factors. Everyone's going to come up with it all the time, every time they buy some tires, right?
Yeah. And, people like me who buy an EV think they hear all the news of no service, no worry, and all that sort of stuff. And so perhaps I was just a little complacent with that on the tire front, thinking, oh, yeah, whatever goes on will be fine. But yeah, what ended up happening was I actually got the money back on the wrong tire. So they saw the wear and tear on, that particular model, which, again, this tire is perfect for an ice car. If you've got an Audi RS3 or some high-performing ice car, the Bridgestone Potenza is a really nice tire, not good for an EV6. So the learning there was talk to Bridgestone head office, who are actually extremely helpful in saying how apologetic they were that it was sold to me in the first place, and by all means, let's get you the right tire. I told them I'd heard good things about the Hankook range, that my first preference would have been Michelin, but obviously it wasn't available. But they helped me with some Hankooks. But it didn't end there though, Roscoe, because I got the Hankooks and I thought...
We're on the third set now. This is the third set.
Yeah.
And the car's
but the Hankook...
The car's done how many Ks by this stage? Yeah.
We're at about 80, 85 at that point.
OEM 25. Second set you looked after them, different brand, but got 65. Couldn't find those again, so you went down the Hankook route. Yeah.
Yeah, well, after the Bridgestone mishap, which was technically the third tire, that got taken. So the Bridgestone was used for literally 3 weeks. And now, what did I notice? I noticed that the range dropped by about 100 kilometers. So I usually 4 to 450 kilometer range on my car. It instantly dropped, and it wasn't because I changed my driving pattern or behavior. It was purely the tire. And you can see on the top left photo there just how worn the edge was after only a week or two. So there was no disputing it. Bridgestone didn't even try, to tell me that it's just driver error. And they were very quick to say, this is the wrong tire for your car. We need to get you the right tire. And that's where Hankook got switched. So the money was given back for Bridgestone. We put onto the car the new Hankooks. Now, I can't remember the exact one, but I think it was the AS EV Tyre for SUVs. Now, I used them for a while, but the problem with the Hankooks was they're okay for maybe a two-wheel drive. They're not great for an all-wheel drive. So
yours are all-wheel, yeah. You've got the EV6 all-wheel drive, yeah. Okay.
So what was happening was, going through a roundabout in dry weather and not hooning at all, the back end would actually twitch out. And so I let Hankook know, and I just thought I must be doomed. What's going on? If I can't get Michelin, I can't get anything. So I rang Hankook, and
the Bridgestones for the third set, they were very strangely and badly within a couple of weeks. Then the Hankook just didn't feel right.
Yeah. And now here's where Hankook owned it, just like Bridgestone. Hankook said, okay, what you have got is an EV tire, but what
Yeah,
you haven't got is the EV tire for an EV6. That's probly more for a two-wheel drive, whatever model. And yeah, so they said, no, you need the Ventus. So they got me onto the Ventus S1, I think it is.
yeah,
And that has been absolute gold. It's at the same level as what my Michelin Pilot Sports were, both in wear and performance. I haven't felt any slippage at whatever speed I'm doing. It's just felt really comfortable on the road. So yeah, it's really quite a nice tire. I'd highly recommend it. Again, not an endorsement, not sponsored here,
yeah.
but yeah, I found it a really good tire.
Yeah, again, I think it's the Hankook Aventus on the Model Y as well, and so I'm up to my third set as well. And yeah, again with careful management, once I learned a thing or two, same situation. I got probably 40 out of the first lot, but the second lot with better management went further, and then same situation, just managing in front and back. There is a camber issue and an inside wearing issue. And someone's also said to me, they're not unidirectional. You can rotate them and turn them around as well on the wheel. So again, I wouldn't endorse that without instructions, but someone's pointed that out to me as well, that you can flip them back again the other way because the wear is on the edge. There's no doubt about that. It seems to be the way the camber's set up. So I've experienced the same sort of things from you. But did you find out more about the warranty on the car itself with tyre selection?
Well, it wasn't really a Kia thing because this was down to the manufacturer of the tire. But yeah, from a tire manufacturer point of view, um, they each, both Bridgestone and Hankook, were really good and honest about it. Because I'd actually driven those Hankooks for quite a while before I realized just how bad they were compared to the Bridgestones only being a couple of hundred kilometers. Um,
Yeah,
it was really nice to see a company own it and say, look,
yeah,
um, we're going to help you out. But for example, I got the full refund on the Bridgestone, but the Hankooks, because I had some use out of it, um, we agreed that actually, it benefited me for this long, just not to its
yeah,
full potential. So therefore, let's do, a discounted rebate on
yeah,
the next set of tires. So I think, what's written on the piece of paper in terms of warranty is one thing, but another thing is just having a really nice, honest, and open conversation with both the
yeah,
dealer and the manufacturer. There's only so much that a dealer, the tire dealer themselves, can do about, warranty, because that's ultimately up to, the tire
yeah,
manufacturer and the representative in your state. But just be honest, be open, and they'll listen to you, because ultimately this is a new trade for them, right? Creating
yeah.
EV tire hasn't been around forever, and I went in with that understanding and knowledge, knowing, hey, I can't go in full guns blazing, wondering why this isn't working.
Yeah.
And just, yeah, learn.
It's a tough one. Yeah, it's a tough one because you don't know till you don't know. And I know that there's definitely EV recommended tires, and there's a lot of debate about whether you can go like something much cheaper and just for the same sort of effect. And yeah, this is great to hear because at least you've been steered in the right direction. You've had a lot of trial and error, and you've ended up back where you've got a successful result with a product which is designed for EVs. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah. No, it's, and I share this story, and I was wanting to tell you about it on the phone that
yeah,
day, but personally, I share that story with a lot of other EV owners, just for the education points, that
yeah,
don't just go in blind and put anything on your car, because
yeah.
you'll be spending thousands of dollars more than what you need to if you go about it that way, and you don't want to be changing your tires in half of their life cycle that you should be.
And yeah, it is amazing. And so, again, your car, here's happy Dave, and I've lost that. But your car
Yeah.
is Again, you've got the trailer. You take a lot of weight in it. You've got a lot of gear to pack in it. So it's probably loaded up as well, right? It's you've got all sorts of stuff in
Yeah.
there, family as well
Well,
as
it's a
gear,
good
right?
point. Very good point. And I think back to the rotation question is that I think the EV6 preferences the rear wheels already, but if you've got a heavy load in your car, like I've generally got with all the video equipment, sandbags and you name it, it's probably 300 or 400 kilos worth of gear, maybe more. Yeah. Plus, I put that little trailer pod or I tow something, and suddenly, those rear tires are getting a workout. So, yeah, it's definitely worth evaluating what you do with your business and lifestyle choices. I don't own that caravan, by the way. That was just a rental for a weekend. That was a lot of fun.
I thought you'd done the whole lifestyle thing.
It would have been very cool to. That thing was amazing. The guy had put hydraulics in it. It dropped to the floor and had little, feet to land on. It was perfect. But yeah, highly recommend Camplify if you're looking for one though.
Thanks, Dave. Now, there's a jury. The jury's out. But did you have one last question? Did you have good connections, I guess, or communication passed around the dealer to the manufacturers in Australia? Yeah, sounds like you had good experiences dealing with it.
Yeah, at first it felt like I was being handballed a little bit. I'll be really honest about it, but I'm a bit of a dog with a bone with that stuff, and I don't just get passed on. So I was on everyone's case and just kind of went, who's going to own it? But in the end they did. And I think tire shops just want to sell tires and move on, right? They don't want to have to deal with problems. But yeah, the only other point I'll raise is that it's really worth having a tire shop that's going to continue maintaining your tire over the life of it, rather than just sell you the tire and say, see you later, because you'll be back. You'll be back to buy the next set and the one after and the one for your next car and your friend's car. So you look after your customers.
No, that's and Hankook have done. Yeah, look, of all the brands, Hankook have been the most visible at the shows. They've been the most visible. Again, they've got a good product on Tesla as well. Again, no association, no affiliation, but they've been the ones talking to people and promoting their EV specialist tires and continue to do so. So, yeah, shout out to any manufacturer who's here to support EVs in that regard. So, yeah, again, because I think it matters how you treat them, getting the right ones.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
The one thing I'd say as well, Rosco, is that they need to educate those tire shops, because it's one thing to manufacture your tire, but if your tire shops are selling or they've got outdated inventory about what's your car, that's where all this began. So if that tire shop is informed and trained, I put that out to the manufacturers. You've got great products. Train those retailers on what they're selling, and you'll be laughing.
Yeah, again, it's a parallel service provision to the normal servicing, official servicing, right? It's off on another channel. So, yeah, I concur. There's got a lot of work to be done in that regard to make sure everybody knows what's all about. So, sorry guys, some of that audio was lost, Dave, but the bits and pieces where I lost your frame there. So, but the message is loud and clear. And thanks for joining us. Hopefully, you're not having too much of a busy year. You can come back again and have another chat to us about maybe the next thing that you're looking at, or again, if you want to sell something, we look forward to listing it on AmazingEV for you and see if we can't find a buyer. But how many Ks you done again in the EV, respectively, in the EV6?
6 is just at 140,000 this week, and the Nero's 105.
And you just had some servicing done on both of them, and again, at 140,000 Ks, anything significant?
Not at all. I mean, I touch wood as I say it, but no. Yeah. I've also done the state of health check on the EV6 since it's got the higher kilometres.
Yeah.
And I believe you've had that particular Avaloo person on recently. Yeah. So
with Nathan,
highly recommend, state of health charge check is a very important thing to do, and I'll be doing it on the Nero soon. But it's not as regularly daily used as what the EV6 is, because the EV6 has the faster infrastructure for charging, etc. So I tend to take the EV6 on the bigger trips.
Do you remember what the outright state of health was on the EV6? What at 140?
98.5.
90.
98.5. Yeah.
It's like after 120,000 Ks.
It's insane, right? Yeah.
Absolutely.
No
Battery
is needed. No, exhaust manifolds needed to be replaced. It's, after having all of the things that we've had with the diesels over the years, it's just.
You've had it all. You've had it all.
Yeah.
Hey,
Yeah.
Dave, thanks for joining us. Great to hear. And let me jump with you next time. Can't hear. Have a good year. Hopefully, I'll see you in Down Sydney soon. So, thanks very much.
Cheers, Rosco.
Thanks, Dave. That's it for us tonight. Thanks for joining us. Sorry I didn't get a chance to talk to anybody. Thanks for joining us, Stan. Thanks for joining us, Joe. Really appreciate you being on board tonight. I'm losing my voice. Tomorrow night, I've got to save it because we're doing a special 7:00 tomorrow night. I'm going to take the used EV sales data from AutoGrab and the AADA, and I'm going to do a special event tomorrow night where we are talking about just the EV sales. We're going to run through them. We're going to look at how they arrived at them, look at the broader used EV market, and look at what the segment of used EVs are selling, top cars, the top results, the trends, and all the information. Join us again 7:00 tomorrow night, or if you can't see us then, come back next week because, again, a very special guest joining us next Wednesday night as well. I'm Rosco, and look forward to seeing you tomorrow night for our EV sales update special. Can we do it?